I think I'm gonna puke. Woo! Welcome back, adventurers. Today's video is on a little bit of a tricky subject. And it's tricky because it can be different for everybody and for every situation. So we're gonna talk about electrolyte imbalances and what to do if you have an electrolyte imbalance on the run or during a race. So the first thing that's most important to keep in mind is that you should be experimenting with things during your training. So if you have not had any salt pills during your training and then you get on a race and you're like, okay, I'm gonna have salt pills every 30 minutes, that's a bad idea. Or if you are doing the opposite, if you've been taking salt pills during your whole training and then on the race you decide not to, also a bad idea. Of course, maybe you've been training somewhere that's really hot and your race is somewhere really cold, so maybe you don't need the salt pills in that situation. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule. But generally speaking, you want to be testing out all of your nutrition, all of your electrolytes before race day. So, things that are the main staple for electrolytes. There are electrolyte mixes, like Scratch or Heed or Tailwind. All of those are great. I personally use Scratch. Now, each one of those can have a different effect on your body. Some of my friends get sick when they run using Tailwind, but they're totally fine with Scratch. So again, that's something that during training you need to figure out for yourself. And if you're going to a runner's group or a runner's community, people will have tried it before and they'll have tons of knowledge to tell you which one they like best, and they probably have extra bags of things lying around. I have Tailwind in my cabinet because I used it and I didn't like it, so I'll just give that to somebody. It was actually given to me, so runners are good like that. But you need to test out and find out which one works for you. Again, I use Scratch, but it's just a matter of personal preference and what your body likes. Another thing is salt pills. Now, salt pills I only started using this year, and I really only take them with me if it's a really hot run. I just kind of balance, maybe like every 30 minutes I'll do a date, and then 30 minutes later I'll do salt pills. And I can just kind of tell at this point, I'm a very intuitive person in my running. If I feel like I need the salt, like I've been sweating more, then I'll do the salt pills. But if I feel like I am feeling really good and I haven't been sweating as much, I'm not going to take them. And that's something that you're just going to figure out with more time. Pickle juice also has a lot of electrolytes in it, but if you are feeling weird and you take pickle juice, you might be overdoing it on your electrolytes. So we'll get to that. But those are some of the basics, some of the things that have a lot of salt and electrolytes. Obviously Gatorade, any of that. I've seen some runners. There's two things that can happen when you're on the run. You could have too many electrolytes, you could have not enough electrolytes. You can have too much water and you can have not enough water. I guess that's 4 things. And there's a whole combo of what can happen if you're in any of those situations. So let's say, for example, you can't keep any food down. You're at mile 30 and everything is just passing right through you. It's possible you've had too many electrolytes. That's what happened to my friend on her first 100. She was so worried about not having enough electrolytes that she was taking in too many and she couldn't keep anything down. So we had to flush out her system. She had to stick with just water and just try to eat simple starches, bread, rice, basic things. She would try and keep those things down, and as soon as she was able to keep a piece of bread down more than 5 seconds, then we knew that she was starting to regain some balance to her electrolytes. But if you're starting to get delirious and you notice that your skin is maybe tinting, like it would stay up, you might not have enough electrolytes, in which case, it's an easy solution. You start taking some in. But it's really a balance. It's just a balancing act. Now, there is a helpful cheat sheet, which I showed you guys in my binder for my race. but I will include this and put the link down below so that you guys can find it. And again, it tells you if your hydration is okay and your electrolytes are okay, what's happening, or if you're dehydrated but your electrolytes are high. There's just a whole slew of things that can happen to you out on the trail. And this has solutions for each one on what to do. Now, I've heard different people say, you know, drink every 10 minutes, drink every aid station, but really, I think you should just drink when you're thirsty. Your body is telling you something. I know people will say that like, oh, but by the time you're thirsty, it's too late. But if you start to get a slight bit of thirst, drink. You know, you just need to find that rhythm for yourself in training. As for like the external situations that can arise, maybe it's humidity that is giving you a problem, or it's too cold so you don't notice that you're sweating so much. Again, that's just something that you have to look at case by case and you can look at this list that I'm going to give you and just judge for yourself, like, what are my symptoms and how do I combat that? If you find yourself in an imbalance on the run, it's not too late to fix it. You have lots of time in a 100 or a 50 miler to come back from that. So don't give up hope, keep running, just address the issue and take it easy. So I hope that helps. Do you guys have any secret hints for combating electrolyte imbalances or some tips and tricks that let you know when you're imbalanced? Let me know in the comments and I'll be back with more videos.